Google has reinvented search, but many brands aren't even aware of it yet. Now, when you search for something, instead of those 10 blue links, AI mode appears, and everyone is now searching with AI. In this AI mode, 93% of searches don't result in a click. This is great if you're a user because you get your answer and leave without even needing to click. But if you're a brand, it changes a lot of things for you. Because the SEO you've worked on for 20 years, the effort you put in to reach that number one spot is now at a completely different point. It's actually become a bit meaningless. That number one spot is turning into something that no one sees anymore. In this video, I'll tell you exactly what has changed and what you need to do. The numbers are clear. Today in America, about 68% of Google searches don't result in any clicks. 2 years ago, this was only 6%. And if an AI answer also appears at the top, on average, 83% of clicks don't, rather 83% of searches don't result in any clicks. Gartner says traditional search volume will drop by 25% this year. So the model of create content, rank on Google, and get traffic has now completely collapsed. People are still searching, but they read the answer on the page and move on. This isn't just happening on Google, actually. People are now in direct communication with artificial intelligence. They use ChatGPT, they use Claude, they use the Gemini app, and they search from there too. ChatGPT has 900 million weekly users. It gets 2.5 billion queries a day. Perplexity processes over 1 billion queries a month. What's more, the way people ask questions is also changing. You used to write 4 words on Google, but on ChatGPT, you write a full sentence of 23 words on average. So the way you explain what you want and how you want it is also changing. Visibility is no longer in the keyword, but in the answer to the question and who is asking it. Now let me ask it this way. When I ask, which is the best CRM system for a 5-person B2B sales team? The answers come back like this, and now I can get all the answers, as you can see. This is very different from the norm. So, what are we going to do? First, let me clarify one thing. SEO is not dead, but it's not enough on its own anymore. There are 3 layers. SEO is the foundation. It basically ensures your site is crawlable and fast. AEO is the layer above that. It means structuring your content so it can appear in AI and be included in the answer. GEO is at the very top. The ratio between the AI model ranking your brand first on Google and the AI answer is actually very low. Let's see, what was the percentage before? It was 85%, 75%. Sorry, the correlation between an AI answer and being number one on Google, meaning there was a 75% chance that if you were first on Google, you were also recommended by AI. Now that has dropped to 17%. So even if you are in first place, AI might not recommend you at all. This is something happening on Google's own side. Therefore, the signals that trigger AI are different from those that trigger Google rankings. We can actually see this. And every model is different from one another. You need to work on each one separately. That is why the job has become harder. Why did it get harder? SEO used to be easy. There was a formula, and when you applied it, it worked. But now, there are smart living systems that understand us, that are actually learning and evolving, and these systems, they produce personalized answers. SEO was generally about being in this rank for this keyword on Google. But in GEO, personalized targeting needs to be done. We will talk about this, as I said. Now, first, we will talk about AEO. AEO can be translated as Answer Engine Optimization. Our logic here is very simple. AI should be able to easily extract and display your answer, actually. Therefore, you need to answer the question clearly in the first 40 to 60 words of each section. Because of this, when creating content, this content could be an FAQ. You need to look at the schema. It needs to be structured data. Friends who deal with SEO already know these things. But artificial intelligence looks at it a bit differently. So you need to answer the question clearly in the first 40 to 60 words. You need to use headings in a question format. You need to add frequently asked questions. You need to include schema markup. Now, I have moved on to what you need to do. I am explaining it. You need to add structured data and FAQ blocks to the sites. If you add these, AI citations show a 44% increase. In research, our systems show similar numbers. AI is not lazy, but it is practical. You need to think of it this way. It chooses the clearest and easiest answer to extract. After all, it is trying to deliver the answer within a certain time. You need to give it very clear signals. For example, I am giving a prompt like this. You can also do this with Claude. I say, rewrite this section and let it be more direct. Put the answer in the first 60 minutes. I mean 60 minutes. Put the answer in the first 40 to 60 words. Let there be a question heading. Let there be an FAQ block. Suggest a schema for me. When I provided all of these, as you can see, it generated a system like this for me. I mean, we had the question here translated, but that is okay. Now, GEO is the next level. It is about AI mentioning your brand by name and recommending it. What does AI like? It likes content that is concrete, containing statistics, citations, and clear numbers. Such things are 30% more visible compared to plain text. It loves lists, it loves comparison tables, it loves X versus Y formats. And also, it loves fresh content, Content updated in the last 90 days is actually cited 3 times more by AI. So, the winners in GEO are the clearest, most up-to-date, and most quotable content, but you can use many strategies while doing this. You can use this in e-commerce. You can structure your product pages accordingly. You can use this on your site. You can use it on the blog side. But the clearest thing I can say about the GEO part is this. Artificial intelligence makes personalized recommendations for everyone. Making personalized recommendations actually means you need to know your customer base and have answers prepared accordingly. And you can do this with Claude. Claude can start working for you. You can connect Claude to your site, and I'll give you a prompt now. With similar prompts like that one, you can start examining this site one by one. But every AI engine looks at different places. It doesn't just look at the site. It can also look at your digital visibility, Google reviews, Instagram profile, and YouTube videos, because it's trying to gather information about the product, the brand, and you. So when you do GEO, you're actually developing your brand's digital strategy. You're doing something above everything else. Because artificial intelligence is our new medium. It'll always be around. In fact, AI agents will come and shop from us. So it's very important for AI to find us. Then we need to make all our content suitable for it. So we're no longer just marketing directly to the human, but also to that human's AI agent. That's the critical point here. The human isn't just a marketing element. At the same time, the human plus the AI they use is our marketing element, because it's looking out for them too. You can think of it like an assistant. Now, very simply, let's say I'm in Claude. I'm at claude.ai. I'm in the code section. You can connect your site here. Let's take a look. Okay, I found a site. I'm giving the prompt here right away. I'm saying make this page mentionable in ChatGPT, Perplexity, or Gemini in a way they can see it. Put in comparison tables, authoritative quotes, and do the entity names. Finally, add a note about when it was last updated. Then create a 5-point GEO checklist. I'm saying check all of these for this and get back to me. So you can start making your site geo-compliant one by connecting it to Claude and giving it to Claude. This takes time, but SEO takes time too. Everything takes time. But when you do this, you'll see the effect very clearly. So this can be considered a starting point. Now, for brands, this is the new reality. The goal is no longer rank number 1. It's being named in the AI answer, but in the right way. So just having AI mention you isn't the right example. Because in one of the clients we saw there were a few, but this was very clear. AI mentioned them, but it also said their rival was better at the same price. Right within the same answer. So a metric like just being mentioned here. The logic in SEO unfortunately doesn't work here. Here you also need to measure how you're mentioned, and you need to turn those bad things into good ones. You need to improve the neutral things, and you need to strengthen the good things. So you need to build strategies around this too. That's why it's not just being named, but how you're mentioned. That's very important. Developing a strategy for these is also very important. I know with SEO, it usually goes like this. Friends doing SEO, those who've been in SEO for years, want to proceed with the same logic. Natural. But it's not the same logic. If you're a brand owner or have a business, please question them when they come like this, because it doesn't work that way. If you do it the right way, you have an incredible advantage. Because if AI knows you well, everyone knows you well, and you're carried over well into the next training models. And this really changes the game a lot. We're getting customers incredibly fast thanks to this. 94% of B2B buyers now use artificial intelligence in the purchasing process. This is very important, and 85% buy from the brand they already have in mind before starting a search. So AI does the comparison for you and offers a suggestion before your website is even clicked. If you're not in that suggestion, you're out of the game. If you are in that suggestion, the customer already comes to you having decided. That's the beauty of it. That's why AI traffic has a much better sales conversion rate. People act as if a friend recommended it or a highly trusted employee recommended it. So the impact is huge for businesses and consumers and B2B alike. Okay? Concretely, what are you going to do? We need to talk about this too. There are 6 moves here. 1. Make your content answer first. Add FAQs and schema. 2. Put real statistics in it, put comparisons, put tables. It loves this kind of content. 3. Clarify who you are, what you do, and who you do it for. So, let your value perception be very clear. The value you'll provide, who needs it, should be understandable. AI loves entity clarity. You can think of it that way. So, if you're clear, you'll be mentioned quickly. If it's complex, it'll have difficulty understanding and leave. 4. Keep the content up to date. Like I said, there's the date. 5. Have your name mentioned on other reliable sites too. It's not just about backlinks, actually, in the logic of SEO. Social media, YouTube comments, Reddit, if they exist, or in a local place, local GEO is also very important. For example, you're a dental clinic, a doctor, or a lawyer. AI knows that the person searching for you is in Izmir and brings results based on searches there. And that's why you also need to be strong on the local side. For that, you need to strengthen your presence. So you need to work accordingly on your social media, your YouTube channel if you have one, or your LinkedIn posts. As I said, being visible in AI means being visible on the entire internet. How you appear on the entire internet determines your visibility in AI. In this respect, there is an advantage like this. Yes, it doesn't proceed with the rule of do this, and that happens as much as SEO. Every situation actually has its own special context, it's adjusted accordingly, but this is like a disadvantage. So social media is always important, how you're mentioned elsewhere is also important. Every point on the site, from the product description to every point of the site from A to Z is important. But on the other hand, this is an advantage, because no one could get ahead of companies that invested in SEO for years. Now, as we said, it has dropped to 17%, the ratio of being in first place with being mentioned in AI. So it has no importance at all. SEO is important, but it no longer has a relationship with being mentioned in AI. It's very low. That's why if you go with other strategies, you can get ahead of those firms that have been there for a very long time. Our advantage is here. Even if you've been there for a long time, I'm sorry, but the game has changed. Now you need to adapt to this game too. 6. Don't rely on a single platform. This is very important. ChatGPT's customer base increases one day, Gemini's increases the next day, Claude's increases the day after, and they all apply different strategies from each other. You should measure how you appear in all of them at once and establish special strategies for those areas. As you can see, it prepared what we wanted just a moment ago. It put the statistics, it put a comparative comparison table, while the entity names, instead of Serin's village, this was actually a village list. It separated it as Selçuk district, Izmir province. In this way, it also matched it with the UNESCO list. AI can do these for you, but you should know what to do. Now, I have a very simple prompt here. You can use this too. You can do it with Claude Code. I'm saying audit this page for GEO AI. Examine a page. How do you think it's doing? I put the 6 criteria I mentioned earlier here, and I want an audit. You can have an audit generated from these 6 criteria, and then have a plan made from here for yourself. I'm telling you the short methods here. Now, if you do all of these, you'll be able to see quite good performance after doing them, but a problem arises here. And finally, the direction we've taken. Measurement program. AI answers are not fixed. Ask the same question twice. The answer changes by 70%, and 30% of brands appear in both answers. Only capturing this is important. Most marketing teams don't even know if their brand shows up on ChatGPT. They can't track it either. And they don't know it's personalized. You see your rank on Google, but you can't see where you are or how you're mentioned in an AI answer. That's the reality. And that means you can't manage what you can't see. So, right at this point, there are tools that change the game. We'll talk about them at the end. I mean, with the tactics I just gave, you can start changing content and preparing without using tools. But in a real sense, how do you stand against competitors? How are you mentioned? On which engine? In what search format do you appear? If you don't know these, the game changes. Why? In SEO, for example, Blue Shoes was, I'm just saying, very simple. Actually, there are long-tail keywords, targeting, and so on. But you'd show up when you said blue shoes. That way, you could target those searching for blue shoes, but now AI models know their users. They know their users' budgets, their daily troubles, their general approaches, their desires, and they actually make personalized recommendations for everyone. Of course, it's not possible to catch them one by one, but if you can segment them, if you can find your customer, the game changes a lot. Because first you find out how you're searched for and determine how you appear, and then you start changing it, you start changing the strategy. Here, Ranky.ai is the most important tool I can recommend because it's a tool that really takes a behavioral approach to measure this. I haven't come across another. There are a few tools that do this. SEMrush made a tool that tries to measure how you appear in AI, and SEMrush is the king of SEO. But their approach still followed the SEO logic. There are a few more tools that follow the same logic. Ranky plays it a bit differently here and actually comes to you like a full package employee. It acts like a digital employee that can handle both your SEO and GEO so cheaply. I'll talk about that a bit. Understand the logic so that maybe you'll progress much faster using it. I mean, it doesn't do keyword searches. What Ranky does is find the questions real customers would ask AI. It finds buyer questions like, what's the best tool in this category? Or what's an alternative to this? It actually finds the buyers. It simulates and checks if the brand appears in those answers. It measures who's recommended instead of you and what happens when you appear. This is called behavioral geointelligence, and it actually proceeds with real answers through real buyer behavior simulation, not keywords. Since the answers are also volatile, it constantly monitors and tracks them. So instead of tracking a search, it tracks people and finds the actual searches of the customer base. In the AI world this way, instead of invisibility, it actually lets you measure how you appear. You can see where you are and manage it. Besides that, there's Peak AI, which does this job. Also, another one, Peak AI, is very good. There's Profound, it's very good. Let me show them too. Profound is here. The prices are like this. But as I said, it's quite successful in the measurement part. They measure in great detail. In the pricing section for $99 a month, it only tracks ChatGPT. In Peak AI, the pricing is different. €85, which also comes to $99. It includes 3 models. It tracks 50 prompts. Then for 150 prompts, it's $205. And this is Ranky's pricing. The $19 package provides a great opportunity to track and get to know the GEO side. On this side, compared to its competitors, for example, compared to $399 or $425, you get much more value here for $149. It actually supports you within it. It connects. Let me show you. We can see it when we enter like this. It has a system that tracks your queries. Let's see, it tells you your audience. Similarly, it says who the audience is. It says so. It finds what the audience is asking the AI, and it shows your result. It says your strategy is ready. Let's go. The best part is that it implements these for you. Now, when you come here, there are many pages. You can measure your status here and so on, but the best part is right here. Strategy. As we said, this is our strategy here. It creates a 12-week strategy for you. It's incredibly successful in the 12-week strategy. You can see it week by week here. It figures out what needs to be done. It derives all of these from things as a result of its research that it tracks. It derives them from content. For example, like this or like that. There's a lot of content it tracks, and it extracts these directly from there. Then it generates actions here. You can perform and track these actions yourself. You can mark them as done, or you can connect the agent to the systems. Ranky handles it itself. I especially adapt Ranky to every project, news sites, and the customer side in these kinds of things. The monthly price of a normal SEO or GEO is very high even in Turkey, Spain, or America, everywhere. But this way, it can handle both SEO and GEO, this agent. You can come here to the settings, create a new key for yourself, and actually connect it to Claude Code via MCP. Let me tell you something even better. For example, you have WordPress or a website. It connects on its own. You don't even need to use Claude Code. The tool connects. For instance, regarding your website. Even if it's linked to GitHub, it can share content for you by opening a PR on GitHub. Or it can manage your WordPress site. It's actually that effective of a tool. Now let's do a test with this. I'll connect to the account here from this point. With Claude Code, I've initiated it, and as you can see, it's connecting. Now I'm telling it to look at the scans from Ranky. It's going to bring me the data. For example, all the scans have arrived here. What else can we do? We can say that, or we can actually list everything that can be done. It also tracks SEO position along with GEO, as you can see. What can it do? It can scan, perform new scans, and pull in competitors. It can track everything, get SEO rankings, and similarly, it can create tasks. Okay? So I said, let's update the site. There's no site here, but let's update it anyway. When I say based on strategy, it takes that strategy, gets recommendations from Ranky, and updates. In addition to this, as I mentioned, Ranky connects to WordPress and performs its own operations. Or it can open a PR on GitHub and share content for you. It can directly contribute to your site just like a developer. Similarly, when I say get prompt intelligence, it actually shows how many people are searching for you. There's actually no other tool that shows this. As you can see, the number of people, monthly volume, it's all right here. Quite successful. Okay, when it says create task, I say okay. It starts creating content at the same time. It starts writing the text. In GEO, that is, in artificial intelligence, the system creates content for you so that you can be present. And if this is connected, you can publish automatically with Claude Code or with ChatGPT Codex, all of them, or other systems. If it's WordPress, Shopify, or if you have a system on GitHub, it can connect and publish there on its own. This way, it tracks the actions. As you can see, it's going to write it there. I said, okay, do it. It's approved. Then it said it would write a draft. Okay, I've sorted out a security setting. Now, okay. Super, it's preparing the thing for us on the Ranky side. The content, actually. Okay. So it will prepare the content, gather it there, and then you can come and take a look, it says. What does this mean? Basically this. Claude Code or any other system doesn't need to learn it, you can use it directly. Now, I've shown many methods. There are many tools here. You can use Ranky like this, or you can do it manually. But as the brand grows, even if manual work gets hard, you can proceed with the systems I showed at the start. As I said, the layers are SEO, AEO, GEO. GEO actually, and GEO is the peak of this business, and the investment you make will stay with you for years. And actually, with the right strategy, you'll have your whole digital presence, your Instagram, your YouTube, which post to share, what you should write under the product, what the competitors are up to, everything, and how you can be better than your rivals, all figured out. So it's a very important field. We've entered a new era. Regarding SEO, companies that invested in SEO made very good money. Also, for companies doing SEO, this was a very large business area. But this is the new field, and it needs to be done correctly. If you try to work with just AI, like a SEMrush report, you'll fail miserably. Things could go very wrong afterwards. Because we've entered a different era, and we must proceed with its requirements. This was the first video. We'll do example scenarios about this. We'll do example scans. We'll do SEO versus GEO comparisons. There are also very good colleagues working on GEO in our country. There are startups too. They can reach out and we can do projects together. Or agencies curious about this can reach out, it can be developed together. But in the new era, if you play GEO right, getting ahead of everyone is much easier than with SEO. So I hope it has been useful. I hope you have understood the perspective. We'll continue with technical lessons, going from A to Z in our future classes. See you.